Hey there friends, welcome to another Legally Armed America video. I'm of course Paul Glasgow. Today is Free for All Friday. We're going to have a little bit of fun. Of course the fun's going to be at the end of the video because we're going to talk about hypocrisy at the beginning of this video. First guys, go check out my friends over at Gideon Optics. These guys make some incredible optics. They have the brand new Granite MOS competition red dot sight that's out right now. You can get this thing for $249, regularly $319. It's got the largest MOA reticle inside the largest lens that they have available, engineered from feedback received from all the competitive shooters over the years that they've spoken to. This thing is tough, aircraft grade aluminum construction. And the battery change is extremely quick. This thing is nice. It's something that you probably want to use. Don't be fooled by the competition name on it because this is for everybody. It's just that it's going to give really good response if you're in competition as well. So check them out. Gideon Optics. Use my code FTATF, again FTATF, and receive a nice little discount. All right, you guys have seen the outrage kind of struck up by the Drudge Report. Remember when the Drudge Report used to be like ultra conservative? Then they twisted and like they're super duper crazy liberal now, like crazy liberal, like cuckoo. They came out with massive outrage about the comments that Donald Trump made about Liz Cheney here recently. I want to show you, for those of you that maybe haven't seen the Donald Trump video yet, I'm going to show it to you, but I want you to see how the media is responding to this video first, because if you haven't seen it, you're going to watch their reaction and go, wow, what did Trump say? This is bad stuff. Watch what they said first.
4 days out from Election Day, and former President Donald Trump is escalating his violent rhetoric, suggesting one of his most prominent critics, the former Congresswoman Liz Cheney, should be fired upon.
Here's another one.
Donald Trump is talking about political rival Liz Cheney. He just called for executing her. Does this move people or what, Pete?
I'm sickened by it, Sarah, to be honest with you. Since July, since that first assassination attempt, we have heard Republicans, my fellow Republicans, excoriate Democrats for their rhetoric and saying that the rhetoric was the cause of that assassination attempt and then the second assassination attempt. And here you have a former president of the United States, and potentially the next president of the United States, threatening a political rival in Liz Cheney. If you want to be president, act like you want to be president and actually bring respect to the office. And I usually don't get that wound up, but listening to that just really, really, really bothers me.
I just want to quickly put on the screen, Liz Cheney has responded to this. And if we can put her words up on the screen, she says, this is how dictators destroy free nations. He is literally putting that out there and threatening Liz Cheney.
It's unconscionable.
What is this message?
It's unconscionable. I don't know how Republican leaders, many of whom served with Liz Cheney and at one point considered her a colleague and friends, cannot denounce this. It is dangerous. It's escalatory. He's also already called for war, like tribunals against her when he's back as president. It is so unpresidential, reckless, and dangerous, and it needs to be universally condemned.
First of all, you notice how unhappy all these people look? This is 3 or 4 days out from Election Day, and the sourpuss look on their faces tells you everything you need to know about where they think they stand, or where they think they stand in terms of this garbage candidate. Yes, I'm using the word garbage. This garbage candidate that they're running on. None of these people are happy about it. The joy has left the building. But these people are outraged because Donald Trump called for Liz Cheney to be, I can't even say the words because YouTube will take the video down, but you know what I'm talking about. So if you hadn't seen what Donald Trump actually said when he sat down with Tucker Carlson, you would think must have been some pretty bad stuff. You know, Donald Trump doesn't need to be saying that again. Let me be very clear before I show you the video. Donald Trump says plenty of stupid stuff. So I'm going to take up for him and say this is not one of those times. Nothing, not even the context of how it was framed, not the wording he used in the proper context, not the point he was trying to make. Nothing was inappropriate. Nothing was off base. And if these people weren't so damn lazy and deceitful and evil and flat out liars, they wouldn't even be talking about this. Here is the video where Donald Trump sat down with Tucker Carlson, and all he's talking about is that Liz Cheney has no problem talking about war and sending our honest, law-abiding American young men and women, troops, into danger on foreign soil in wars that we have no business in, because it doesn't affect her, doesn't hurt her. And he's trying to explain to people, maybe if she experienced that danger that our young people are experiencing, she might have a different thought.
She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. You know, when the guns are trained on her face. You know, they're all war hawks when they're sitting in Washington in a nice building saying, oh, gee, let's send 10,000 troops right into the mouth of the enemy.
So how could you possibly take what Trump just said and misconstrue that? Again, I understand, and this is my point in a lot of my videos, that the media is lying to you. They are the enemy. The media is the frickin' enemy. And this is a perfect example of it, because they know people are busy. Football season, kids are in dance class, football, trick-or-treating, so many things going on. They know that the average American does not have time to sit down like some of us do and break these things apart and dissect it and see who's lying and who's telling us the truth. In this case, the mainstream media, the state-run media, is flat out lying to you. They're not misunderstanding. They're not simply taking something a little bit out of context. They know what the context is. The context is not even, you can't even argue the context. Yet they're taking it and saying something completely different, as if Donald Trump is saying she needs to be done away with. Again, YouTube, I have to use the right wording here. Donald Trump never implied that. Donald Trump's very simple comment to any of the casual, average American people is that people find it awfully easy to send young men and women from America into harm's way, literal harm's way. I don't mean hurt feelings, I mean hurt bodies. They have no problem doing that because they never feel the impacts of it. Clearly, Liz Cheney has nobody in any kind of branch of military who could potentially go into harm's way if we went to war with any of these factions out there that want to go to war with us. Clearly, she doesn't have a, quote, dog in the fight, right? Donald Trump is trying to point that out. Not only does it apply to anybody that she might have an affiliation with, like a family member, but it's another great point that he's making, that if she ever experienced any of the danger that goes along with sending these young men and women into harm's way, maybe she would think otherwise. Great point of, if she were staring down a rifle, maybe she would think different before she sent somebody else to stare down that same rifle. So disingenuous of the media. I understand that they are in lockstep with the Kamala Harris administration, the Barack Obama administration, the quasi-Barack Obama administration, which is what this is. I understand that they are carrying the water of them. I understand that they have a vested interest to see Kamala win. But you know what? You know what's silly and what's crazy about these people on the far left? This blows my mind. What are they in the business of? Not delivering news, we know that. They're in the business of selling commercials, right? The more eyeballs you have on your news channel, the more you can charge for advertising, right? I mean, it's basic business. The less viewership you have, the less money you can ask for your commercials. These people not only did so much better under the Trump administration, they do so poorly right now under the Biden administration. From a business standpoint, it would behoove them to have Donald Trump as president of the United States. They're going to have so much more stuff to complain about. So many people getting outraged because they want to turn on the TV and see what Donald Trump said yesterday. In fact, if you'll notice, Barack Obama did a lot of news conferences and press conferences back in the day. Donald Trump did twice as many. Joe Biden not even a fraction of what Donald Trump did. I can remember going months and months and months and months and never seeing a live feed of Joe Biden. When I say that, I mean I'm talking 6 to 10 months at a time, maybe 12 months at a time, and you never saw a live feed. Yeah, you'd see him step off a helicopter and say, yeah, blah, 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 and he'd mumble some stuff, and then he'd go on about his business. When is the last time you saw him in the White House briefing room? Do you remember Donald Trump used to do that almost daily? So these news agencies will make so much more money if Donald Trump is elected, but the only thing that they hate more than being poor is Donald Trump. They're willing to tank their own business to make up lies to keep Donald Trump out of there so they can make less money, because their feelings are so fragile they can't stand the fact that Donald Trump, being the better candidate, may actually win, and they are doing everything they can to keep him from going back into the White House. Now the fun part that I gotta have. I've often said this, and I'm going to say it again. I am not a good-looking person, so I can talk about ugly people, right? You know how they say black people or gay people can make black jokes or gay jokes because they're part of them? Well, I'm an ugly person. I can talk about ugly people, right? In fact, I'm getting fat now, so I can talk about fat people, right? Yay! So, one thing that I've often noticed is that there are a lot of very good-looking, smart, attractive people on the right. Conservatives just seem to have a whole lot of really good-looking people that are part of it. It may be the news agencies, some of the candidates, I mean, some of the actual politicians, they might be scumbags, but they're easy on the eyes, some of them. You ever notice how unattractive people on the left are? You ever notice that? Especially in the news media. Boy, they really... good-looking people are not represented very well on the far left, and especially in the mainstream and state-run media. This is a perfect example. When you look at this group of people right here, you know, so many of your liberal commentators and people on television in the state-run media are either ugly, they're fat, or like the Barney dress chick here in the middle, she's ugly and fat. So it's very rare to see somebody that you actually think is attractive. And I saw when this chick on the right popped up on here, I was like, oh wow, they actually have a conservative on here, because just looking at her, she seems to be an attractive person, especially compared to Barney in the middle there. And you just automatically assume that must be the conservative counterpoint that they have on here for the show to make it interesting. Well, after you saw the video, you realize that that was just another liberal. The thing that got me, this is amazing, the way the mind is stronger than the eyeball, I guess. Watching this girl talk and realizing how liberal and how much of a nut she is, just like Barney across from the table from her, the more I watched her talk about the liberal garbage that she was vomiting out of her throat, the uglier she got. It's so crazy how your own mind will look and have a first impression, and then your mind overrules itself and says, nope, her internal ugliness is starting to erode on her external. Y'all know I'm right. And you know I'm going to get some heat over this, and I don't care. But you know I'm right. You guys absolutely know I'm right. Hey, regarding Cheney, look, she is a non-issue. She's been a non-issue for a long time. There is a reason why the good people of Wyoming bounced her ass out of there, because they had no use for her whenever she moaned and groaned, just like Kinzinger after the January 6th debacle. Conservatives had no use for her. And she got waffle stomped. If you know what waffle stomp means, you probably have a little inside joke there. But she got waffle stomped down the drain. And nobody has ever looked back in the state of Wyoming.
I don't understand the point that you're making.
God save the Queen, man.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America. He's so